I just love how David says my delight is in that. It's like to be amongst God's people is just, I just think it's amazing. You know, like I got to meet you. I mean, it was just starting to get to know each other, and just starting to hear the stories of what God's doing in your life and others in Quesnel, and you know, who knows where God takes people, and you know, just in their faith journey, not geographically speaking only, just in their obedience.
So welcome today to Coffee and Conversation. Today I have a different guest. It's not Chris, it's Janco, and I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name. I'll let him do that one. And I'm Rawlin, and welcome. We hope you enjoy. Janco actually shared the word in church, I guess it was 3 weeks ago, is it?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, and it was an exceptional exposition of Psalm chapter 16. And I would recommend that you take a look at our website, see if you can find it. If you haven't heard it, it was just really good. It really spoke into my own soul. So now tell us what your last name is, what part you play at New Life, and well, why you're here.
Well, you got my name right. So it's Janco, and then the surname is van der Westhuizen. So van der Westhuizen. I always say like thunder Westhuizen, so that'll help people out. And then a New Life at the moment, just mainly with the youth and the youth ministry, and just kind of pastoring and shepherding there, and wherever else I've got time for at the moment. So
of course, the only place I've seen you is with respect to the high school.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You're helping with the high school class that happens in the during the school year, and that's the context I've seen you in there, because of course I'm not part of the youth, but and now of course anybody watching can probably tell by Janco's accent that he didn't start in Canada, but you're Canadian.
Yeah, I am Canadian, exactly.
I was with you there.
Yeah. Last year, no, beginning of this year actually. So
well, welcome to Canada, and we're not welcome to only, but welcome as a citizen.
Yeah, thanks.
And I love my nation, and I hope you develop a deep love for what's here. So Psalm 16 is where you hit, and that's in the context of the Kingdom of God series we're doing, and some of the things, there's 3 or 4 things that I thought we should cover today specifically. You mentioned, for instance, at the beginning, how he talks about taking refuge in God, and you mentioned hidden truth and hard trials. Obviously, you had something in mind from David's life. David's the author, and when you're thinking of these hidden truths and the hard trials, which trials do you think he's dealing with in this particular? Was there something in mind that you had there? Yeah,
I think that when I was starting to unpack it, there was that word like a miktam of David, and I was like, what's a miktam? And I really couldn't find any conclusion that I felt there was consensus on online at all. So there were these ideas of like there's something like it's like a secret or hidden, or something that's very deeply personal almost, and like and this is being revealed, and so it's like almost like David's writing the psalm of stuff that's hidden in his heart. I mean, it's not hidden because he's making it known to us, but it's like he's storing it safe.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't know what it was unless he told you.
Yeah.
You look at, and we do tend to do that with other people, don't we?
Yeah.
We look at somebody and think their life was, we have ideas about them until you actually talk to them, and then they tell you, you see King David in his glory or his splendor and his power, and you think he never had a hard day in his life.
Yeah. And I think that's like the thing with David is that all his his life, his ups and his downs are all so well documented that we know the failures too, right?
Yeah.
Like the hardships that he went through, the things the bad choices he made, the sin that entered his life, and how that he had to deal with that and wrestle with that, and being chased by Saul, those things, and so we see those trials of him having to just face life. It wasn't just, hey, shepherd boy to king. It was, shepherd boy to waiting, to being persecuted, and the ups and downs of life over a lifetime.
Yeah.
And then here's in the psalm, I just find like he shares a lot of hidden truths of like, this is what I stand on. This is what kept me going.
I like that part. You talked about David revealing his deep convictions. And somehow when I heard you say that, and we're going to go through a variety of them, when I heard you say that, I thought his success in life and in his kingship, his ministry, it was based on his conviction. If he had failed in any one of the areas, we wouldn't have heard about him. It would have been just another name in a genealogy. But he's that guy because of his convictions.
Yeah.
And you know, the first thing you brought out was his call for protection from God. And of course, God did protect David, but not always. His protection didn't always look like what we would like it as. When you think in terms of that protection, and what he said was, I take refuge in you. The way you brought it out, you talked about tragedy. Tragedy being real. And I thought that was a very significant statement because, of course, virtually all of us. I don't know if you've had tragedy in your life, but most of us have.
I think that it's, what have we seen? I think I use the example of like growing up and how my dad and my mom and as a family, how we would deal with hardship and tragedy. And my dad's still he's full-time ministry in Africa, but growing up in that environment of him shepherding and pastoring people, like how did he navigate that, and how did he navigate that with a family? Like he didn't just shield us from it completely. I mean, I don't think you need to be exposed to all of it, but when it was real, like how do we involve God being our refuge in that tragedy? And I think that if we can't find a refuge in God, then where are we going to run to, right? So
that's the truth. And David definitely did that in every circumstance, whether he was hiding in a cave, running here or there. He found his refuge in God, and he lived by those convictions. And you mentioned coming under God's loving authority. And that struck me as interesting, because a lot of times people, when you think in terms of coming under authority, we don't think in terms of love, we think in terms of harshness. And that obviously isn't the case with the Lord Jesus, but so where was your mind going with that one?
I think that...
I don't know you that well.
Exactly.
I need you to say what you're thinking.
I think that there I was just thinking of, if we take God out of anything, then it's not good. So we... And really, what does it mean to take God out of it? It's like taking his voice out of it, which means that's his direction, that's his rule, that's his lordship. So it's like, I want to do this on my own, or you're allowed to be in this box, but not here. Don't tell me how to spend my money, or whatever it is for each individual, right? And I think that God's authority, we have to recognize it as loving. That voice is of a loving Father. And if we recognize that and believe that, then we'll want to know what He thinks of everything.
Yeah.
God, what do you think of this issue I'm having with my vehicle? Like,
Yep.
you're a good Father. Like, you don't want me to fret over nothing if I don't need to. So, like, what should I do? And that's that's submitting to a voice, which is His authority.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, if God's not in it, it's no good.
Yeah. And
so,
is there something He's not in?
Yeah, right.
I mean, obviously He's not involved in sin, but I remember a time when what I was doing was something that I probably thought I shouldn't be doing. And later when I went to repent, He said this, the thought dropped in my heart. You did that right in front of me. I thought, well, where could I go to be behind you?
Yeah.
It's just not possible. In other words, wherever we are and whatever we're doing, He is in fact there. Do we want Him there? Do we not? We were with friends one time down in the Seattle area, one of Pam's very close school friends, and her husband was going to go out with another friend, and I assumed that they'd want me to come along. And he says, I don't think you want to come where we're going, because he knew I was a Christian. Oh, okay. And so I stayed back. The problem with the Lord is you can't do that, because He is, in fact, aware. You don't expect Him to stay back. If God's not in it, I don't want it. He does show Himself interested in all of our life. I remember, like, I own a farm. I had a mower, a sickle mower, that had broken. And I could not figure out what was wrong with it. So I asked Him. I said, Lord, can you show me what this is? And shortly after praying, I looked, oh, there it is. There's a bolt missing there. And I believe that He does that. He is interested. And I'm with you. If God's not in it, I don't want it either.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you mentioned Abraham in the context.
Yeah.
Now, he's not actually in the chapter.
Yeah, he's not here.
But you mentioned Abraham and the two things that God showed him. That he was a protector and he was a provider. And did that come out of your life experience? That you were sharing that, kind of introducing Abraham to somewhere where he wasn't?
Yeah. I think, I used an example of just, something that had happened, I think 2 weeks before preaching, of just saying, God, like, I need a solution to, with renovating a basement, and well, I don't think I even really, said, God, this is the problem, but He knows, right? And
He does.
And then God created a solution without the way He went before me and made a way, type thing, But I see that throughout all of my life, if you live life, you will see the hand of God if you're on the lookout for it. And if your heart is postured, I believe, right? And coming to Canada, just so many things, stories of kids' birth stories, or you're like, wow, seeing God's hand. I remember when we were getting to Canada, it was at the beginning of COVID, and we were not sure, like, God, when are we moving? We knew we were supposed to move, and then COVID hit, and my wife was pregnant, and my wife could come easily because she's Canadian. But I didn't have a visa. I had applied for like a spousal thing, which could take 6 months, 7 months, who knows, a year. But I needed to come immediately, and within the span of like 2 days, I was able to get a visitor's visa, which it takes 2 to 3 months to get that in South Africa. And just seeing God's hand, like they were shutting the borders down, and no one was sure, but God literally paved a way. I think there was the last day of the borders closing in South Africa, the international flights, there were 3 British Airways flights out of the country the Thursday, I think it was the 28th of March, 2020. And I got on the second last plane out of South Africa, maybe even, I don't know, probably not Africa, but you know, you just see, you look back and you're like, there's no way I could fight my way onto this. I just can't. It's just the grace of God. And what that does to your spirit, to feel the peace amongst, you know, chaos. Like, okay, God, you're making a way. You're in control. You're in control. Exactly. And so, you're my protector, and you're my provider. You know, and I think that,
I tell you what, if we could get a hold of those 2 truths, that He does care, that, you know, that He is our protector and He's your provider, I think that there'd be a lot less stress. People would find a far deeper peace and enjoyment in life if we truly could enter into that truth. One of the deep convictions that David had, his life, was delight, and it mentions that in the Psalm, delight in God's family. And, you know, that one, I've thought a lot about that particular statement because, of course, when you think in terms of family, I come from a fairly large family. How about yourself?
Yeah, I've got like just 2 brothers. So
there's 7 of us. And of the 7, I'm truly close with 1.
Okay.
Modestly close with a couple others. You know, but the a little bit more removed from others. I'm not in conflict at this point with any, but I do know families that have conflicts in them. So this idea of delighting in God's family, it struck me. I thought, how does that work when you are in church with somebody that you really, you don't like, you know? How does that work for you?
I mean, I think like I just look at like David saying like it says there, you know, I like, as for the holy people who live in the land, they are the noble ones. All my delight is in them. It's like in that nation or in God's people. And I think for me, it's just growing up and seeing people who love God, that aren't perfect, that are different, that like different things, that express things differently, and we know in life we don't, like you said, we don't all like, you know, sit together and be like, yes, I just want to be in your presence all the time. But despite that like tapestry of differences and beauty, like you just find people, like seeing people follow Jesus and just live faithfully towards what He's calling them to be in their context, and just seeing the growth of who Jesus is in their lives. And I think that that's such a gift that we can all enjoy all the time. It's like, this friend or this person I know from 10, 20 years ago that we used to do life with here for a season, look at the life that they're living when they're in their obedience to Christ. And I think that we meet friends along the way that we maybe, you know, our hearts knit closer together, and those are the people that you maybe stay in touch with, and the stories are more personal maybe, you know. But just to be able to, like, I just love how David says, my delight is in that. It's like to be amongst God's people is just, I just think it's amazing, you know. Like I got to meet you. I mean, it was just starting to get to know each other, and just starting to hear the stories of what God's doing in your life and others in Quesnel, and you know, who knows where God takes people, and you know, just in their faith journey, not geographically speaking only, just in their obedience. It's exciting.
And where they're going geographically as well. But primarily in their life changes. You see so many people that the huge life changes, and you know how God, we were talking earlier before we came in about the fact that I enjoy going to church. And even when I'm not really, if I say, feeling like, wow, let's go, I wouldn't want to miss it. Because something's going to happen, something positive is going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, just you miss that meeting where this particular thing. You know, we had a situation in our church in Cranbrook once where, I mean, you'd think if I'd have stayed home that day, I'd have missed this. But a man who had been coming with his wife for a period of time told me very clearly, this is not for me. I come because my wife needs it. She is really desperately needs her faith, and so I just come to support her. It's not a part of my life.
Yeah.
Well, after a period of time, one time, his wife went away. He came by himself, and during the course of the meeting, in a lull in things, he stood up. And he said, you know, I've always said that this was for my wife. But he said, I truly need the Lord myself. And so he stood in a very public way in our church meeting and repented of his sins, turned his life over to Christ, and said, well, he wanted to be a testimony to people where he worked in a mine. And so Monday he went, lived his life before these men, and on Tuesday he was asked by one of his co-workers to do a shift for him. He went in, and a load of crushed rock fell on him and killed him.
Wow.
He'd been a Christian 2 days.
Jeez.
And I thought, Lord, only you. Like, I'd have missed that meeting, you know. And it was just so precious to have been there and been part of that man's, well, his change.
Yeah.
The things that happened in him. And I wouldn't want to miss church because I'll tell you, something might happen.
Yeah, and I think, like, I was just thinking, like, I think that's part of why I really love working with young people.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just like you just come into contact with someone whose life is still so, like, there's so much ahead still. And to be a part of, like, some of those formative years of getting to know them.
Yeah.
And just trying to pour as much of Jesus into them as you can, and then to see where that goes.
Yes.
And then, like, a decade later, you look at their life and you're just like, just so overjoyed.
Yeah.
You know, to be like, wow, like we had a month ago, so I think it's the first time for me personally, but like one of the guys and the girls that me and my wife used to disciple back in Zimbabwe, that got engaged in London, and they're getting married next April, and they both love Jesus. And it's just like, and you just, you know, you Zoom call them, and you're just like, you just see the joy of Christ over them. Yeah. And like, what a joy. You know, and it's just so many stories like that where you're just like, come on, you know, well done.
Wonderful.
Exactly, you know, to be a part of that is such a joy.
Yeah, it's a privilege too.
Yeah, it is. It is a privilege.
Yeah.
And it's a privilege that we all have. It's open to all of us. And I think that's the thing. Privilege sometimes sounds, oh man, privilege. How can I get that? No, that's God's kingdom.
Yeah.
You know, that's an open. It's open.
It's not only for people.
Yeah, it's not only for a
it's
selected few. It's for we all.
Yeah. We can all be a part of that. Enjoying what God has given to you. That was another part that they brought out there. And enjoying where He's put you and what He's given you at the moment. You mentioned Laban in that context and Jacob.
Yeah,
I thought that was there's wisdom in what you in using that and sharing what you did there. But why Jacob and Laban?
Again, I just personally, God speaking to me in a season of my life where I was saying, God, I've put in the work. I want what's due to me. And that's so arrogant to say, if I think back. So can I move on with my life? And I feel like maybe Jacob might have been in that place where he said, well, I've done this work faithfully, but now it's changed.
Yeah.
And I just think that like being faithful with what God has placed in your hand with the right heart and with no time limit. Like I think God, that's something I had to learn in my younger life, is to be like, don't put a limit on God. Like, okay, God, I'll be faithful for another year.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'll be faithful here for another year. Or I mean, I think that we can say, God, like, you know, hey, this is what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
But don't like bargain with God. Like, I think it becomes dangerous.
It not only become, it's dangerous for sure. And because, of course, that goes along with what our brother Checky was sharing about expectations, disappointments in expectations. That's another sermon that you should watch if you get a chance, but because it was good. At love me and enjoy me. And I think a lot of time people that have something feel guilty when they enjoy it. You know, I've talked to people who go on short-term mission, and they'll be with people who have very little or nothing, and come back feeling guilty for having what they have. I got to honestly say that I don't. I've gone on lots of short-term missions. I don't feel sorry for people. What you can do, you help with where you can and whatnot. But I got to honestly say that I truly enjoy what He's given me. I really do. I enjoy the jobs, I enjoy the work, I enjoy the things. Is there some area of your life that you particularly are grateful that you're a part of, that it's part of your life right now?
Yeah, I think just like maybe because I'm just still a young dad. Like, you know, my eldest just turned 5, and I've got a like 14-month-old. So it's still fresh, and so I think it's like I'm so thankful. Like the moments really speak to my heart, and so like I'll often catch myself just being like, "Sheesh, I'm so blessed," you know, and so thankful. And just even just a house that we have, you know, to call our own. I'm like, often my wife and I will just catch ourselves and be like, "Sheesh, we're really blessed, you know, to have this."
Grateful.
And I think perspective helps with that, right? It's like it can breathe gratefulness and thankfulness.
Yeah.
I think if we only, where are we looking? Or, you know, what are we comparing? Are we comparing ourselves to something, whatever, like, right? And it's a dangerous thing. It's like, God, this is what I think I should have. Or look at what he has or she has or anything, you know, and versus like, sheesh, God, what's in my hand? Like, let me enjoy that, like delight in that. Delight in the community God has for you here. And the people he has and this place, you know. So, like, I was at the hairdresser this week, and I was like, "Hey, where are you from? And she's like, "Quinnell." I'm like, "Do you like it?" Yeah. She's like, I'm like, "Hey, you know, I love Quinnell. Like, I love God. I love this place. Love God's people. Yeah. Well, the people here, and but I think that I think it's when we start to say you know, I could."
Well, you know, when we first moved here, honestly, the various ways to get across this bridge, and if you don't turn here, you got to go there, and it was a little confusing at first, honestly, and took a little while to get used to the corners, and that was a little irritating, honestly.
It took me a while to get to it.
But well, whatever. And, my wife said to me the other day when we were coming into town, she says, "I really like Quinnell, you know, it's a nice city." And I think it's true. There's a lot of good things here, a lot of positive stuff. You mentioned also walking in the counsel of the Lord. You told an interesting story there. I don't know if you'd be free to share it again here, but or at least a little piece of it. But walking in the counsel of the Lord. Give us your take on that.
Yeah, I think like just what is Paul David say? He says, like when he counsels me even at night, I bless the Lord who counsels me even at night. And for me and my wife, like we had the boys in bed, and I think we were just debriefing after the day and chatting, and our oldest has like a fear, legitimate fear of ants, and I was just sharing about like at night, and we're just saying, God, like, how do we deal with this? You know, like we're trying to help him, and nothing's working. And so it was kind of just a cry to God, like, we need you. We need your counsel. What do we do? And prayed that, and then maybe a week or so later, I was picking up the mail, and there was a book that said, what does it say? There are no ants in this book was the title of the book. Yeah. And so it obviously caught my attention because I'm like, a book about ants. And even in that moment, I realized right away, I was like, thank you, God. Like, what's it? I took off the cover and started like looking into it. I'm like, oh my goodness, because Niku, our eldest, loves books. And so picked him up from daycare, and I showed him the book, and he was like right away, like, okay, let's read it. So we get home, started reading it, read it again, and it really just, it kind of, I don't know, really made the ants seem small, and like almost God did something through that book where his interest now is like, what kind of ant is that, or you know, something like that. And and I think a week later we got another book, a prayer book that we were reading through, that we had gotten from some friends, and as we were reading through it, there was a prayer that also talked about just, you know, God bless the insects. You know, even when I feel scared about like some scary things, God help me to know that I shouldn't be scared. You know, or things like that. And just, I was just overwhelmed through that process of seeing God just surprise me and surprise my wife, and just be like.
Yet it's interesting.
Yeah.
Why would a Christian? Yeah. And this is certainly, all of us are this way to a degree. But why would we be surprised that he would answer that? And yet we are often. Yeah. We actually would get up and give a testimony because it's, well, like I say, we've become used to doing things our own way rather than actually asking. Yeah. I heard a joke once that went kind of like a church council getting together, and somebody said, well, do you think we ought to pray about that? And another one of the men says, well, has it come to that? As if we should not. But of course, that should be our first response. Lord, what do we do here?
Yeah,
yeah. Have we inquired of the Lord?
Yeah.
That struck me when I was reading through the Old Testament once. I was reading along, and it says, they inquired of the Lord, and he inquired of the Lord, and he inquired, and he's talking about inquiring. I think, like, what are they talking about? When they're talking about inquiring of the Lord, clearly it was more than just saying, Lord, bless what I'm doing. Here, we've got a program here, Lord, and we'd like you to come along. It wasn't that at all. It had to do more with, Lord, what should we do? Because we don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of things in life we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. He counsels us in the night.
Yeah. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of time people discount dreams. But dreams are a large part of Scripture.
Yeah.
And often you can see things in dreams that, you know, your spirit will teach you something in a dream, show you something that you sort of must know somewhere, or the Spirit of God is speaking. But if you have a dream that's troubling you, there's a reason. Maybe he's speaking, counsels us in the night. He is, in fact, according to Isaiah 9 and 6, a wonderful counselor.
Yeah.
And I like that. Trust in the Lord. Trust the Lord to lead you. That was the last one. This is kind of the end of your message there. And David, of course, mentioned trusting the Lord to lead him in his life. He mentioned several things. Could you want to give us a take on that, where you went with that?
Yeah, I think that just seeing God's faithfulness still, despite his shortcomings, and seeing God lead him through that. And I think sometimes even he had to say, God, your timing, because he was anointed, but that didn't even just happen. Or he's in times of trouble, how do you lead me out of this, and I think that you see the recurring things that just flow in and out, like the convictions, even our conversation. It's like, hey, you can't have this part of God without him leading you, you know. And so I think just seeing God, the way God has led us is, it's through his counsel, it's through delighting in him, it's through saying, God, you are my authority. And then he comes, and when we surrender, and then, wow, okay, this is where you're taking me. Thank you, God. In faith, I'll step and lead me. And so, I think just trusting in that, and I think that just brings a lot of peace.
Yeah,
it takes the burden off to be like, God, okay, you lead me.
That's an interesting way to say it. It takes a lot of weight off your shoulders to believe that he's actually leading you, taking you somewhere, that he's at your right hand. Yeah,
exactly. That's, I think, and that's he's advocating for us. He's our defender again, that protection thing. He's got us,
and he is a good shepherd.
Yeah,
you can see the difference between a good shepherd and a poor one when you look at their animals.
Yeah,
you see animals that are comfortable around their owner. You see animals that are healthy and well cared for, or you see scared, kind of. In other words, the idea of being a good shepherd, actually caring, I like that image. It was really good. Trust in the Lord to lead you. I believe he's leading you, and frankly, I'm glad he brought Janco to Canada, and glad you're there. It's good to have met you.
Yeah.
And if you haven't taken a trip through the Psalms lately, take a trip through this one. You'll find lots of good truth in it, and you'll enjoy your time there. Lord bless you. Be at peace till next time. See you another time.